committee chair, Councilman Poindexter. So at this time, I'd like to take statements from the public on the agenda items. And I'd like to check with Ka'u, do we have any testifiers?
Good morning, Madam Chair. We have no testifiers for your committee this morning.
Thank you very much. Pahoa, do we have any testifiers?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yes, we have 2 testifiers for your committee this morning.
Thank you. Hilo, I don't see that we have any testifiers here. Waimea, do we have any testifiers?
Good morning, Chair. We do not have any testifiers, and I just got off the phone. Kohala has lost power, but they do not have any testifiers either.
Thank you very much. Kona, do we have any testifiers in Kona?
Good morning, Madam Chair. We do not have any testifiers for your committee today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll go to Pahoa, and we have 2 testifiers, so if you can state your name for the record and then proceed.
My name is Joyce Folger.
Oh, sorry, and just one more thing. You have 3 minutes, and then, I don't know, someone will notify you there on the 30-second to summarize. And if you're testifying on more than one item, please let us know when you're transitioning so that we can restart the time. Okay, thank you. So again, restate your name and then proceed. Thank you.
My name is Joyce Alberta Felena. I'm testifying in opposition to 2 bills, 15 and 16. I'll begin with 15. And first of all, I'd like to thank the staff of Chairman Poindexter for their assistance to me yesterday in identifying and explaining the geographic area that the county is considering raising the speed limit to 45 miles an hour. On Highway 137, the Kapoho-Kalapana Road, I'm strongly in opposition to raising that speed limit for the following reasons. I traverse that road regularly. I've been in Hawaii in the same area for 31 years. I'm very familiar with that stretch of road all the way from Kapoho to Kalapana. The road itself has been improved from what we call 4 corners of the stop sign where Highway 132 meets 137. There's a nice striping on the road. The pavement is nice and even. It encourages people to drive faster than they should. There's a psychological reason here. When you have a speed limit in an out and away, I should say, area, speed limit of 30 or 35 miles an hour, people, if no one's around, people are going to speed up to 40, 45 if they want to. But if you have a speed limit of 45, they're going to think they can go 50, 55. That stretch of that geographical area is only a mile, 1.2 miles of 45 miles an hour. That's the proposed height. In an otherwise, all the way from Kapoho to Kalapana, a speed limit of 30 miles an hour, which is proposed in this bill and in the next bill, 16. However, I am speaking of Bill 15. Right after, directly after that very short area of proposed 45 miles an hour, the road narrows considerably, the pavement is bumpy, it hasn't been improved to the extent that the preceding northerly portion of the road has been improved. And there are 2 small hills, and then directly there, after the 2 small hills, this is in the narrowed area, there's a curve in the road. And then directly after that curve, you have the charter school. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. And right after the charter school, which is the next door neighbor, you have a Hawanui Park. I hope you can visualize the problems that I'm seeing here, and they're scary problems. It was scary enough for me to come to this meeting. I see you 30 seconds. The what? Okay, sorry. The southbound traffic, I hope, if you do pass this 45 mile an hour thing, you're going to have massive signage there, and I want one of those smart signs that tells the driver what their speed limit is, what the speed limit is, and how fast the driver is going. Excuse me. I prefer that you don't pass this bill at all. the oncoming traffic, the northerly bound traffic and the southerly bound traffic, unless that southerly bound traffic obeys the law and decreases their speed considerably. And this is a short distance. This is only 1.2 miles of a raised speed from 30 to 45 and then boom, back down to 30. I think this is insanity. This creates a very, very hazardous condition. Thank you. Now I'm going on to Bill 16. Bill 16, as I've read it, and I did my best to see Bill 16 and Bill 15 before I came in here. I asked the clerk's office to email it to my email, but we were having problems at the library for the computers, and I don't have a computer. So I wasn't able to see that bill until just now. I'm in support of 30 miles an hour. I've said opposed to this bill, but let me tell you why. I'm in support of 30 miles an hour from Kapoho all the way to Kalapana. I think that's a reasonable speed limit for this road. I'm opposed, and I say it again, to the thought of raising 1.2 miles to 45 miles an hour. I think that's very, very bad planning. And it's going to result in some very, very dangerous conditions. I don't want cars plowing into kids crossing a school area, and I don't want cars plowing into people going into and leaving a Halanui Park. A Halanui Park, which is also in your committee's jurisdiction. A Halanui Park is a very well-used park. We have people coming there, tourists from all over the world, literally. And at certain times, that park is packed with people. You don't want to raise the speed limit directly before that park going southerly. You just don't want to do that. You don't want to raise the speed limit directly before approaching that charter school. Don't pass 15 and consider 16 amended 30 miles an hour, inclusive of the entire area from Kapoho to Kalapana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your next testifier. And Pahoa, please state your name for the record and then proceed.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee. My name is Gregory T. Smith. I come from Puna District, and I'm speaking in opposition to 15 and with, I don't know, marginal, possibly, I'll suppose, a comment on 16. Nonetheless, so with 15. I am opposed to this because of the fact that the people, again, they do speed here, on that stretch of road. We used to have drag races and stuff on that stretch of road. And as Joyce pointed out, the psychological effect is interesting because I've noticed, particularly in rural areas, some people tend to drive way too fast. The speed limits on our roads, particularly our rural roads, should be adhered to. And again, just to reiterate, the area coming, particularly on the south end of this proposal, the area there is really dangerous because you have two, not just hills, they're actually drops, two bumps. And I've actually seen people fly literally 10 feet off the air, out of control off that first bump, and they hit the second bump, they bounce up again. And I mean, unless you have some really heavy signage at that south edge, that south end of the of that roadway, you could get some serious accidents. I mean, very serious. I would actually, in lieu of increasing the speed limit, I actually, put better signage at that end. And if you do pass this, definitely you have to put better signage at it. And the fact is, as soon as you have those two drops, then you have a relatively sharp turn into the charter school. I think it's Kolai. Akula Kolai is the name. And there's Kala. There's several hundred children that go there, and plus the fact in the morning and the afternoon there is a traffic problem. As far as 30 miles an hour, that's about the speed it should be done from the four corners at near Kapolei all the way down into Kalapana, because that's as fast as you can safely traverse that. And beyond that, anyway, mahalo.
Do you want to go on to your Bill 16?
Oh, 16, I just commented on 16, and that, yeah, definitely go 16, I guess, amended so that we don't have that 45-mile-an-hour trip in there. So, yeah, 16 would be okay, so long as it did it from Four Corners all the way into Kalapana and at the roadway. So that's it. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Okay, this concludes the statements from the public. We go into communications, resolutions. Mr. Clerk, will you please read in resolution 38-15?
Resolution 38-15 accepts the dedication of Road Lot 33, Commando Street, Stub Out Extension, Road Lot 34, Ka'ai Ko'ili Street, Road Lot 35, Mai'ao Street, Road Lot 36, Kauola Street, and Road Lot 37, Oluwalu Street, and Road Lot 38, Commando Street widening, task map keys 73051 131 132 133 134 135 and 136 of the Colloquial Light Industrial Subdivision Phase 3, being also a portion of Royal Patent 8214, Land Commission Award 7715, Apana 11, Lot 8, Kamehameha, situate at Koloko, District of North Kona, Island, Hawaii, State of Hawaii, from TSA LLC. The streets contain areas of .560, .852, .825, .823, .998, and .249 acre respectively, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 38-15? So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Diop, seconded by Councilmember Kamuha. Is there any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Resolution 38-15 moves forward to council with a positive recommendation. We now will go into bills for ordinances. Mr. Clerk, would you please read in Bill 1?
Bill 1 amends Chapter 24, Article 10, Division 1, Section 24-254, Schedule 2 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2005 edition as amended, relating to 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, adds portion of Mahi'ai and Wright roads to subsection G Puna, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 1?
So
Second. It's been moved by Councilmember Kamuha, seconded by Councilmember Diop. Is there any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so Bill 2 moves forward to council with positive recommendation. Mr. Clerk, please. Oh, Bill 1, I'm sorry. Bill 1 moves forward to council with positive recommendation. Mr. Clerk, will you please read in Bill 2?
Bill 2 amends Chapter 24, Article 10, Division 1, Section 24-255, Schedule 3 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2005 edition as amended, relating to 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, amends subsection G Puna, to revise existing Wright Road and to add on Mau Road and portions of Mahi'ai and Wright roads, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
Motion to approve Bill 2. So moved. Second. It's been moved by Councilmember David, seconded by Councilmember Diop. Is there any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The Bill 2 moves forward to council with a positive recommendation. Mr. Clerk, please read in Bill 3.
Bill 3 amends Chapter 24, Article 10, Division 3, Section 24-275.1, Schedule 23.1 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2005 edition as amended, relating to new public road taxi stand location. Adds portion of Ali'i Drive to subsection F Kona to provide taxi parking between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. daily, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 3?
So
Second. It's been moved by Councilmember Kamuha, seconded by Councilmember Diop. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Kamuha.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there a representative from Public Works on this bill?
Yes. Say your name for the record and then proceed.
Hi, I'm Aaron Takaba from the DPW Traffic Division.
Thank you, Mr. Takaba. I think this is a great thing. I think we should pass this. Just a question about, south of this little inlet is where the taxis normally would go, in front of the restaurants. So are they going to be moved from that little area to this little section, or is that whole section gonna still be all taxis?
It's the south, another request from the police department was just for this little section, just so there's another means for people to go home after, after going out at night in the restaurant area.
Yeah.
We didn't look at, I know the south area has a whole bunch of parking along the street. We didn't really consider anything beyond the curb cutout area that was proposed.
Yeah, because I think this is great. I'm gonna support this, but if you can take a look at, I'll go down to check as well, but just south of this little thing, there's right in front of those restaurants, there are a few parking stalls that taxis might park there illegally. So I think maybe with this one, they'll park in a more appropriate place where it can avoid traffic situations and pedestrians walking, so close to the road. So I'll check that out in the future, but thank you for doing this. I think this is definitely a good thing.
Thanks.
Is there any questions, Councilmember Onishi?
Aaron, I just get one question. Why is it till 8 a.m.?
That was just,
like 2 or like.
yeah, I mean, it was just the time that the police proposed. It was mainly to address the late hours. The 8 a.m., could possibly push it and make it end earlier, but after 8 a.m. it become regular parking again. So it would be.
Yeah, it's just something kind of weird, like you think like till 4 o'clock or something like that. But then 8 a.m. Oh, you're okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any discussion? Seeing and hearing, all those in favor of Bill 3, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so Bill 3 moves forward to council with a positive recommendation. Mr. Clerk, will you please read in Bill 14?
Bill 14 amends Chapter 24, Article 10, Division 1, Section 24-257, Schedule 5 of the Hawaii County Code 1983-2005 edition as amended, relating to 35-mile-per-hour speed limit, adds a portion of the right road to subsection G, Puna, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 14?
Move to approve Bill 14.
It's been moved by Councilmember Iligan, seconded by Councilmember David. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Iligan? Oh, you don't, sorry, your light was on. Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Bill 14 moves forward to council with a positive recommendation. Mr. Clerk, will you please read in Bill 15?
Bill 15 amends Chapter 24, Article 10, Division 1, Section 24-260, Schedule 8 of the Hawaii County Code 1983-2005 edition as amended, relating to 45-mile-per-hour limit, adds a portion of Kalapana Kopopo Beach Road to subsection G, Puna, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 15?
I move to approve Bill 15.
It's been moved by Councilmember Iligan, seconded by Councilmember David. Before we get started on discussion, I want to call up Mr. Takaba. And you did hear the opposition and the testimony there and the suggestion of smart signs, but can you give a little bit of background and history into why this is happening? And I don't know if you'd be able to address it, and then I'll open it up for discussion.
Yes, the request we had at one
And
point.
for the record, just state your name for the record
Okay.
before you proceed.
Aaron Takaba from the DPW traffic. Yeah, we had a request from the public to look at the speed limits along Kalapana Kopopo Beach Road. And we did a traffic study and we justified a section to raise it to 45, which is the area that we're proposing in the bill. And so we felt that that was reasonable for the area. And we can consider the suggestions that the person provided as far as the signage. We are going to put signage for sure, but we can also consider the smart sign at the speed limit drop at the southern end as a possibility.
Is there any questions or concerns, Councilmember Iligan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Takaba, you said that there was a request from the public. May I ask if it's okay, is it individual or group or?
It was an individual that I think she lives in that area, in Kapoho. And it was, we didn't look at it, we just looked at it as a request, and if it was a reasonable request, regardless of if it was a person or if it was to raise it or to lower it. We just looked at this traffic study and what that would justify doing. And we did see that we felt it was reasonable to raise it to 45 from Kapolkai Road heading south to that point that I mentioned in the code amendment.
Okay, I was looking at the bill and I just wanted to make sure that testifiers were addressed and committee chair has addressed that. And I also wanted to clarify regarding the smart sign. You said, what's the possibility of installing a smart sign there?
It's a possibility. We have a list of other projects that we are working on, but it's something we can consider. A speed limit change or a drop is a reasonable place to have a sign like that. So it's something that we can look at.
Driving through there, you don't normally notice those speed limit signs, and having those smart signs will definitely help. Do you have the funding, or is it just there's a lot of requests for those smart signs?
Yeah, offhand, there's a lot of requests. Funding-wise, we probably have to plan for it maybe in the future budget. We have to just see what we have available, but there's about maybe a handful of projects, smart signs, as well as school zone projects that require a similar project like the smart sign.
Okay, well, I'm gonna reach out to your office and understand a little bit more on where these smart signs might be, and if I'm guessing they're all over the island, and I was wondering where it would be placed regarding these bills, and I'll follow up with that. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion, Councilmember Chung?
Thanks, Madam Chair. I actually think that the speakers made a lot of sense. I just wanted to say, I can't visualize this area, but I'm going to be voting no.
Any other discussion? Councilmember David?
Mr. Delgado, thank you. In the traffic study, the decision to increase the speed limit given the testimony of a couple of residents of schools in the area, was the decision more of a flow, or was it there was some issues that needed to be addressed? I mean, the remainder of the road is 30 miles an hour, so I think I have to kind of agree with Mr. Chun that it seems a 1 mile stretch of 45 miles an hour doesn't seem to make sense. The rest of the roads are 30.
Yeah, currently the road, the entire length is 30 miles an hour in that section. And when we did our study, we looked at what's called the 85th percentile speed, and that's usually the speed we use to determine the speed limits. And actually that speed was actually higher than 45, but we felt it was reasonable to put it at 45. So that's actually below what's called the 85th percentile. We also checked sight distance along the hills or the road itself, and also at the intersections to make sure we weren't posting something that was going to be too high for people trying to get out from the side streets or driving the road. So we considered those criteria when we made the change, when we suggested the change.
Well, I must say, in the interest of safety, especially given the fact that the rest of the stretch of road is 30 miles an hour, I probably will not be voting for this either. Thank you.
Councilmember Diaz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for the explanation how you arrived at the 45, because that was what I was wondering. Why didn't you choose 35 or 40? If maybe there needed to be an area where people could speed up a little bit, but maybe not all the way to 45.
And we tried to get it close to the 85th because there's a level of respect that people will have for speed limits when they're posted closer to what they feel is a safe speed, which is actually the 85th. So we tried to get it as close as we could, but also being as safe as we could. Probably a good example would be Poinaco Street Extension. That road was, I think, 40 for the entire length. And we raised it to 55, which was actually close to the 85th. And I think people are still driving, at a reasonable speed, and I think they tend to respect the speed limits more when you have it at a good posting, at a reasonable posting.
Thank you. I'm not familiar with that area
No.
at all, so I'm going to ask, is it Mr. Ligon's district? So maybe I'd just like to hear a little bit more discussion from people who travel that area.
Councilmember Palaka?
I do travel that area, and I am also concerned regarding Kuokala, because it is at that end of the stretch. So I'm probably not going to be supporting this measure either.
Thank you, Councilmember Elena.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I drive through there, and it's right at the end of the Four Corners, right? And then you make a right, and Kokala is like farther way out. And then you got Papaya Road on if you make a left. Actually, my biggest concern about that strip is you guys remove the, I believe you don't have to stop to make a right.
Yes, at that what's called the Four Corners intersection, there's a stop sign except for right turn, because everywhere else there's a stop control. So that right turn is actually a heavy movement.
Heavy
It's
right.
a right stop except for right turn.
So I'm actually more concerned about that stop sign because of that you don't have to stop on the right. There's been, I feel like, incident where if you keep on going, you can have prevented somewhat of a close call if you had stopped, even though it is a burden to most people who they stop and then they have to make that right and constantly make that right. That's more of a concern to me. And having a smart sign for that strip of road will definitely improve your speed limit. I feel like that road, you keep on going, it's like, I feel like you're driving to Kona when I'm on that strip of road. And having that stop sign, instead of, you don't have to stop when you make a right, would help with traffic. But please clarify with me, with your expertise and your background and your knowledge regarding traffic, which I do not have, what are the mechanisms that you decide that 45 would be more accurate? If you could break that more to where I can really understand, because I'm fine with it. I'm just, if we have that smart sign, that's what I want to follow up with. But if we're not having that smart sign, I would rather keep it on 30, just because most people will go to 45. Anyway.
Okay, so what was the question? Like what we use to determine?
I honestly feel like 45 would be good. That's just my opinion right now, but I would like to hear from your knowledge of how that came up. If you could clarify a little bit more for me.
Yeah, we set traffic counters out for a week, and we looked at the speeds throughout that week, and the 85th percentile is the speed. It's a little complicated to explain, but it's the speed at which 85% of the motorists are driving at or below. So 15% of the drivers are driving above that particular speed. So there's it was in the 50 range, I think, actually. So we felt lowering it to putting it at 45 would be reasonable in that section. We kept it at the straight section right after Bohokai Drive, because that was where it just kind of opens up to just being a lava field and just a straight road. So we also checked sight distance, and like I mentioned earlier, we made sure that there was enough stopping sight distance along the road, as well as enough visibility on the side streets to see getting out at 45 miles an hour.
Okay, so to finally make my point, I just want to say that area, it's not a heavily residential area. There's a lot of farms around that area. I don't see students or what schools with Kokala, that's not right there. That's all the way on the other side. So I feel like students crossing, I don't rarely see students crossing. What I normally see in that road is a lot of hitchhikers on that four corners. And my biggest concern would be if they're going 45, they don't slow down to make that right, a hitchhiker could get hit. That's the biggest safety that I can predict if I were to make that analysis. And I feel like if we would address keeping the stop sign and removing the you don't have to stop making a right would help with that, and a smart sign would help with that. That's what I would like to share, and I hope that you can reconsider your vote if we can get a understanding, and I'll follow up with you regarding installing a smart sign there to make sure that that speed is under control, because I honestly go 45 on that road. I confess, I'm breaking the law when I ride there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I'm okay with your justification for raising the speed limit on that stretch of road. I was going to go off the same lines that Mr. Ilagan was going off of in in feeling comfortable about raising the speed limit with concerns about safety throughout that entire roadway with regards to the smart sign or the traffic calming measures, you know, in certain areas where the speed limit does get lowered to that lower speed limit. So I'm just kind of going off of that same line, and what kind of guarantees can you give us now, knowing that if we're going to raise the speed limit with this, are we going to get that guarantee that there will be these types of measures protecting the public from possible excessive speeders?
Well, if that's what it's going to take, you know, we can look at it and make sure, we got to check the area and make sure it's a place where we can put a smart sign, but we can definitely look into it and follow up. And that speed limit drop would be a reasonable place to have a sign like that.
And I'm not saying that's the only measure necessary or the measure to take, but, you know, I'll go off of the recommendations from the council member whose district that is, but, you know, I think it's a valid point to make that, you know, we need some, myself, I need some guarantees for voting for this, but I definitely will go off the recommendation because I do believe the justification is from the department is justified.
Right, and actually in Puna, we also were considering doing a real similar treatment along Leilani Avenue. We were going to have a speed limit change increase, and we we're going to have a smart sign on each end at that change point. So that is a kind of a similar situation there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Chung? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have yours first?
Yeah.
He had the first round, that's why he didn't have. Sorry, I'll come back to you. Councilmember Onishi.
I don't know if I missed or not, but who requested the increase?
Sorry, I don't have her name right now, but then it was just somebody from the public who lived in that area. Kapoho, I think.
Oh, so she lives in that stretch?
Yeah, she probably lives somewhere in the maybe vacation land or beach lots, I believe, somewhere in that area of Kapoho.
So she came to you folks asking if you guys could look into increasing the speed limit?
Yes, she did. She called actually and I requested that.
Okay, and so did you folks go out and, I guess, ask the other community, the other residents around there how they felt?
No, we did not do that. We just looked at it, you know, what we felt made sense. I mean, we kind of figured that this would be the forum to get feedback from from other members of the public. But we did not actually reach out to anybody else besides the requester. But the change that we made, we felt was a reasonable one. It's not something we made because she called in, because she wanted it that way. It's just something that we looked at and felt made sense in that area.
And then this is called, that's like the railroad, rig road. Is this the road we're talking about?
Well, it's Kalapana-Kapoho Beach Road. It's, where the lighthouse is.
Right.
You make a right, heading towards.
So that's where we used to call Red Road, right? Because it was all,
Yeah, I guess.
right? That's where they had all the drag racing and so forth, right? I just heard about that before in the past, but okay. So it's like David had mentioned about like making it maybe like at 35 or something. Is he off? Okay, I'm sorry. Wouldn't that be much better?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, the 85th, our cutoff was actually in the 50 range. So we felt 45 was, lower than that. So we thought it would be safer, but raised enough to a point where people would respect the speed limit.
But then it's only for a mile. How?
Well, yeah,
stretch.
Yeah, it's not. It seems like a short stretch, but when you're considering you're driving, it's reasonably long enough that it's significant. But what we found is that people don't necessarily look at the speed limit and drive 5 miles higher. They drive what they feel is safe driving, and so raising it to a reasonable point will keep people where it should be probably, rather than going too fast for not 30-mile-an-hour speed, for instance.
Did you put that survey, that speed commenting or whatever you folks call it, like past that?
We did it in a straightaway. Just looked at where, in the straightaway section.
Safe area.
In the area where we were looking at raising the speed limit, we put the counters down.
I see.
One each direction.
Yeah, I kind of picturing where it is, but then like when they mention about the charter school, how far is that away from where the increase going to be?
Well, the only charter school I know of, I'm not real familiar with the area, but I know there's a charter school in the further towards Pohiki, in that where the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit is. I don't think it's in the area where the speed limit increase is being proposed.
So did you folks so you guys didn't really go look around outside of that 1-point-something mile stretch?
Well, we looked at the area as far as where it would be reasonable to keep it at 30 and where it would be reasonable to propose a raised speed limit. And that included, the conditions of the road as well as what was around it. And in the area where we're raising it, it's pretty much just a lava field on each side. Where we drop it back down to 30 on the Pohiki side, it kind of narrows down. The road isn't paved, it wasn't repaved. I think a couple years back, the highways division repaved a large section. The 30-mile-an-hour section is actually the part that they didn't repave, so we kind of kept it as existing in that area.
Okay, thank you. In fact, from red came black again. That's what it used to be. The red cinder, they paved that road.
It's Black Road.
No, Black Road. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Chang.
Aaron, these speed mitigation measures that have been talked about by the council members, is that, maybe I'm missing something, is that in response to the increase in the speed limit, or is that something that's just being proposed whether it remains at 30 or not?
The smart sign would be, we handle those based on request usually, but there's places where it makes sense to put them, and that would be a place we could consider if that's what it's going to take, and it would be a reasonable place. It's just that it's a little time consuming, and there's a list that we have.
That's whether the increase is approved or not?
Well, if the increase is improved, then I would assume that's when we would look at the smart sign. But if it's going to remain 30 the entire way, there's probably not a point to have this sign.
See, and that's the problem I have with all of this. is we're going to increase the speed limit and then put all of these speed mitigation measures in place. Kind of costly, right? And I don't think, I'm just looking at the map, but it doesn't look like there's too many police officers hanging around over there checking to see if people are going to be speeding or not, just as a practical matter. But at the same time, I'm willing to defer to the council member from that district. I mean, he knows the area the best. And, I know I said I'd be voting against it, but if the council member from that district is supportive of it, I'll certainly go along with that. I do have some concern.
Do you want to address something?
I just wanted to mention that the smart sign would be at the point where the speed limit drops again. So it'd be, if you're going south, I guess, where it changes down to 30, that's where you would see the sign.
Right, but if we didn't have the increase in the speed limit, then there would be no need for the smart sign, right?
Yes, it's mainly just to alert people that there's a speed limit change.
So I'm just looking at resource allocation and the necessity thereof.
Councilmember David?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Takaba, for the additional explanation, and also Mr. Ilagan. Given that, I would also want to defer to Mr. Ilagan on this matter, especially if there's going to be additional safety measures imposed by the department. I would definitely be interested in that. Thank you.
Councilmember Ilagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since we're deferring to me, let's stripe it, let's put new rails. Anyway, Aaron, I appreciate all the work that you put into this. And what I want to do is do my due diligence, and I'm going to request a postponement on Bill 15 and Bill 16. And I'll go into the community that I represent and get their input and their feedback, and find out what the majority wants, and we'll go from there and see where we're at. So at this time, I move to postpone Bill 15. I move to postpone Bill 15 to the call of the chair.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Ilagan and seconded by Councilmember Paleka for the postponement. So the vote on the postponement, all those in favor of postponing, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so Bill 15 is postponed to the call of the chair. Mr. Clerk, will you please read in Bill 16?
Bill 16 amends Chapter 24, Article 10, Division 1, Section 24-256, Schedule 4 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2005 edition as amended, relating to 30-mile-per-hour limit. Amends subsection G, Puna, to revise Kalapana-Kaboho Beach Road, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 16?
I move to approve Bill 16.
Second. Councilmember Ilagan has moved to approve Bill 16, seconded by Councilmember David. Is there any discussion, Councilmember Ilagan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, Mr. Takaba, you had something to say?
I just wanted to mention that Bill 16 is related to Bill 15, so that probably needs to be postponed as well.
You're a smart fellow. And I want to say thank you for giving me extra work and responsibility. Well, I just want to, again, thank you for putting this up, and I'll definitely go into the community and set up a meeting and find out what their thoughts are. At this time, I move to postpone Bill 16 to the call of the chair.
It's been moved by Councilmember Ilagan and seconded by Councilmember Onishi. On the postponement, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so Bill 16 is postponed to the call of the chair. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Onishi and seconded by Councilmember Ilagan. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This meeting is adjourned.